Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be talking about the NFL coaches that were fired or decided to leave this week. I was going to do a video today where it was going to be the head coaching fires and some UFC information, but I don't want to combat the two together. After all, this is Blitz, which is the football part, and Brawls, which is going to mainly be like UFC and boxing. Once in a while, like PFL, if Usman Nurmagomedov is fighting and all that. But I decided I'll probably make a video of that on Monday. I don't want to do it tomorrow because tomorrow is my prediction video for the divisional games, and then Saturday and Sunday is gonna be the recaps. I'll probably do the whole fight news on Monday, and then Tuesday or Wednesday give my prediction for the January 24th UFC 324, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett. Um, that prediction video. But yeah, so next week's, if you want to watch that, stay tuned for that. But as for today, we are going to talk about Mike Tomlin deciding to leave. He was going to get fired either way. We're going to talk about John Harbaugh being laid off, and then rumors of him being a New York Giant head coach. We're going to talk about the failed Pete Carroll experience with the Raiders, Kevin Patullo being fired finally. We're going to talk about Kevin Stefanski being let go as well. Just talk about that, maybe where they can go, why they were fired. Starting off that, we're going to talk about Mike Tomlin here. When it comes to Mike Tomlin, for most of my life, he has been a head coach that was very good. You knew him as a great head coach. He never had, I just shouldn't say he never had, because he did have great teams. But even those great teams, with like Le'Veon Bell, AB, and Big Ben, there wasn't a lot of playoff success with them. You know, I do think AB won a ring, but he wasn't really playing at that point. Uh, Big Ben's rings were like what, '05 and '08 around there. So for a decade, it was basically them in the playoffs, the Steelers in the playoffs with Mike Tomlin, but not really achieving much. But they were at least a team that you were like, they could do so much. Since about 2019, 2020, this has been a team that was really just basically the epitome of mid. And, they'd be like, going into every season, they'd be like, the Steelers fans are like, this could be our year, dude. We're going to be really good this year. And then they would end 9-8 or 10-7. But you get a post from like the NFL on like IG being, which by the way, being like, just like, hey, Mike Tomlin, he still has not had a losing season in blah 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 years. I think it's like 18 or 19 years he's had a above 500 or better record, which is like, that's cool. It's cool that you got that. But what's also really cool is like winning a playoff game, which you guys haven't been able to do since 2018. I mean, like, that's really bad. Really bad. Since 2018, almost a decade. You've gone 8 years without winning a playoff game. Yeah, and if I'm Mike Tomlin too, you gotta at least change something up, and they kind of really never did. They weren't really changing much up. They were fine being in the playoffs. They were fine, which obviously, being in the playoffs is the goal for most teams. Obviously, if you're like 1-16, your goal is to be like 5-12. But this is a team that every year was like, hey, we should be in the playoffs and we should win a playoff game and we should, contend for the Super Bowl. But every year, basically, since 2018, the roster itself hasn't been built like a championship team. You had Big Ben after his after his shoulder injuries, where he was just like no longer able to throw the ball the way he once was. It's funny. I get like mythical fucking reels about like what he was able to do in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. Because I was like 6 years old when he was like fucking peak Big Ben. Although I do want to say he did throw for like 5,000 passing yards in 2018. That team, guess what? I don't even think they won a game that year. So yeah, just the whole debacle within this last decade of like you have Le'Veon Bell, he wants extra money, you're not gonna give it to him. So that's a whole year of like no Le'Veon Bell. And then Antonio Brown does Antonio Brown things now, and you let him go. You keep Big Ben. You know, you guys start 11-0. I think 2020, the COVID year. You have like Juju being like dancing all over teams' logos on TikTok. You have Chase Claypool on Twitter being like, "Hey, losing, we don't know about that." And now he's out of the league. And since that post, he's seen a lot of losings. He's lost a lot. But this was a team that was. I still like the identity of the team, which is we're gonna play hard defense. You know, we're just gonna score enough. Problem is, most of the time the team wasn't really able to score enough. I don't want to say most of the time. They were still 9-8 and 10-7, but they were just a team that you could be like, yeah, you're gonna be in the playoffs, but you're gonna lose. And I mean, there's like it's really bad. There's some like posts I've seen. Maybe I could find one here on my phone of just them like the scores that went at one point during the playoff games, where it's just like not even close. It's like, congrats, you made it to the playoffs, but you're not gonna do literally anything that day. But yeah, just like this was a team. This wasn't. The Steelers have been okay with just being okay. They haven't really made a big swing to get like a bigger guy. You want to say Aaron Rodgers? He's 42. He wasn't really that great with the Jets either. Even the last year with the Packers, he wasn't that great. DK Metcalf, I don't think. Here's the thing. I think DK is a number one receiver, but he kind of has that same thing I feel when it comes to AJ Brown, where it's like they're not natural catchers of the ball. You know? They're not natural. Like, whenever you watch like Jamar Chase, Jettas, Puka, JSN, those guys, even like CD and like George Pickens, they are natural catchers of the ball. It feels easy for them to catch the football. But whenever I watched DK Metcalf at Seattle, because I saw him twice a year at least as a Niner fan, it kind of looked like he was fighting with the ball to catch it sometimes. It wasn't just easy. He wasn't plucking the ball. So, and they decided to go for that after, George Pickens had his problems. Not as a player, but just around the team, basically, where he was just a diva. You go from one diva who was like, if he had a quarterback, he'd be great, to another diva who, like, you saw he had a couple of good seasons, but not really an elite receiver. And you saw what happened. George Pickens gets a quarterback that is capable, and he gets like 1,400 yards, and DK Metcalf literally punches a fan in Detroit and can't play the next two games. Comes in the postseason and has a stinker of performance. I think just the last 8 years is why Mike Tomlin. And by the way, Mike Tomlin, he decided to leave, but I mean, the writing was on the wall. It's either like Mike Tomlin basically said, "You can't fire me. I quit." That's basically all he did. I think he was gonna get fired either way. This was just him being like, "Hey, I'm done. I'm gonna leave this team." The problem is though, he wasn't fired, so he still technically like is on the roster. It's like how Sean Payton decided to leave the team from the Saints, so he wasn't fired. So like, if he wants to get hired next season, that would mean that the team would have to trade for Mike Tomlin, which means that the Steelers would still be getting something out of Mike Tomlin. So Yeah, I feel like this is just the right decision for both parties though. The Steelers get a new team, get a new head coach, start over again, and also start over with Mike Tomlin. See if you can go back to doing what you guys were able to do before 2018. He might go to the Ravens. He might go to the Ravens just because obviously John Harbaugh was fired. I'll talk about that in a bit. He might go to the Ravens though, and just be like, I'm gonna make that defense the way it was in 2023 when they had Mike McDonald as their DC. Because that's really all that the Ravens needed. Their offense is capable enough. Lamar's on the field; they are good enough to win games offensively. We need that defense to be the way it was in 2023, where they were allowing like 17 a game and just dominating everyone. That could be a good fit. But yeah, just overall, this should have happened. This is the end of it, and yeah, if I might Tomlin start over again, same with the Steelers. I think they're both gonna be fine where they're at next. All right, we're gonna talk about now John Harbaugh and his firing from the Ravens, which is honestly a very simple thing about him being fired. It's very simple why he got fired. He was probably going to get fired in 2018 to begin with, but then Lamar Jackson won a couple of games in his rookie season, made it to the postseason, eventually would lose to the Chargers. But then the next year with Lamar Jackson, I feel like that was hey, John Harbaugh, this is it. Either you guys are going to be good this year or you're gone. And what did that team do? They just got, they got the 1 seed. And Lamar Jackson would throw for like 3,100 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 1,000 rushing yards. Would win the MVP. And that basically got like the pressure off of John Harbaugh's back. Where he's like, all right, now, I'm still the head coach of this team. We are going to be fine. And really, they were fine. You had some years where Lamar was hurt with them. But even then, they were still able to like contend for like a 7 seed. But the real problem, or the real reason, I should say, why John Harbaugh is no longer a Raven is because you had so many great years of a team and you weren't able to do it. You weren't able to beat that team. It's also that and the amount of blown games that you guys had in the fourth quarter of games, or blown leads, sorry, in the fourth quarter of games that you just can't handle that. You can't allow that. It happened this year in week 1 of the season where it was like 40-25 with like 4 minutes left, and Josh Allen would go on to just fucking do Josh Allen things. But yeah, the thing is, you have such a great roster. Like even this season, which I think was do or die, and as you saw by the reason why they're posting this statement from John Harbaugh, he died. Well, not really, but he got fired because I believe they were projected to have the best chance of winning the Super Bowl just because everyone was like, hey man, this is still a stacked team. And the Ravens are a very pretty team in the regular season. Very pretty. Always good. If Lamar Jackson's playing, book in 11 to 12 wins. Sorry about that. Always book in 11 to 12 wins. And, at worst, a 3rd seed. And, well, what happened? Lamar gets hurt and the team immediately just falls flat on their face. My thing is, I think that there are a lot of head coaches that could do what John Harbaugh is doing with Lamar Jackson, which shows to me that it isn't really John Harbaugh doing a great job. It was Lamar Jackson doing just an elite job, playing elite quarterbacks. But yeah, this is John Harbaugh, 18 years, I believe. Won a ring. I think it was in 2011, though, so it's been a while. And I think this is just another thing was the right time. It's the right time. Let's just do our own thing. Go our own way. Thank you for all the time. And, but yeah, this is just it. And we know it's just that he got fired, but he's already getting like calls for them being like, yo, why don't you like come over here? The New York Giants are already like, yo, we've had interviews with John Harbaugh. We want John Harbaugh as a coach. I think there's like rumors of like 5 years, $100 million. Obviously, those are just rumors. I'm not gonna fully just be like he's getting paid $100 million because they're just currently rumors. We don't exactly know what it is, but I think this is a great thing if I'm a Giants fan. This post kind of makes it there. He's gonna make Dart into Lamar Jackson. I don't fully think that Jackson Dart should play that style of quarterback. Um, I feel like more of a Jaden Daniels style is more him because he is. I don't want to say Lamar Jackson isn't a good pocket passer because he is a really great pocket passer. It's more so the rushing ability. I don't think Jackson Dart is at that level. I think he's a little bit lower, but also we got to take into account Lamar Jackson was going to be Lamar Jackson, and I believe that John Harbaugh started off as a special teams coordinator. So I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to help Jackson Dart become the level of quarterback that the Giants fans want. But this is still a very smart deal. If I'm the Giants, go ahead. Go. This is a team that I think the last head coach, Brian Daboll, was also a pretty good head coach. Obviously, the team wasn't that great. But the reason why they hired him is because Josh Allen was having like his best years with Brian Daboll to that point. So they were like, hey, we have a young quarterback in Daniel Jones. We need a coordinator that can help us get there with this guy. So they bring in Brian Daboll just because he was able to do that with Josh Allen's. The difference here is that John Harbaugh doesn't really do offense. He's more of a Dan Campbell kind of head coach where it's like I'm gonna just be kind of like a GM in a sense. I'm not gonna be calling plays. I'm just gonna be there's a word of it. I don't know exactly what word it is. Sorry. But he's not gonna call the plays, And so he's gonna have to hire another offensive coordinator to really make or help Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo and Malik Neighbors just become a great trio that this franchise desperately needs. I think it is smart for the two of them though, for the Giants and John Harbaugh, and hopefully in the near future it'll work. Just because we at least need one New York organization in football to be fucking decent at football. All right, next up we have the Philadelphia Eagles finally getting rid of Kevin Patullo. Saddam Hussein himself has been exiled from Philadelphia. It took fucking way too long. You know it's really bad. You know your offensive coordinator is really bad when the fans at home are able to be like, all right, A.J. Brown's going to go to the out route. You're going to have a go ball to Devontae Smith, and then you're going to have a curl route by Dallas Goedert. All right, snap. And that's exactly what happened. Perfect. All right, it's going to be, all right, Jalen Hurts, your first read's going to be a go ball by A.J. Brown. If he's not there, roll to the right and throw the ball away. Huh? He's not there, and we're going to run over that. That's basically what it was offensively when it comes to the pass game. I mean, everyone's like, finally read the comment section. They should have done this in October, though. They really should. I haven't been having this February 9th, the Super Bowl last year. I used to pray for times like this. This is basically just how everyone feels. About to throw some up on the grill. I mean, this should have happened in like week 6. You could tell early on in the season, this isn't the same offense. You would figure by like week 14, it's like, all right, this is done, guys. This is it. It took them to have to lose in the wild card round because they got just thoroughly outcoached against the Niners. They outcoached with ease when it came to the offenses. It wasn't even close. Jawan Jennings looked better than Jalen Hurts on Sunday. It's like Kevin Patullo should have been gone a long time ago. At least they did it. Now, honestly, though, here's the hard thing about one guy I have in mind, which is Mike McDaniels, because he was also fired. I don't think I don't think I have a thing for him, but he was maybe not fired, but he was let go. He's gonna be a really great candidate for both head coaching jobs and offensive coordinator. I don't think he's gonna be a head coach this year. I would lean more of an offensive coordinator. And I think really the two spots that I think he should be wanting to go to is the Philadelphia Eagles, with Jalen Hurts, with Saquon. I mean, you saw what he was able to do with Devon Achane. And even that year with Raheem Mostert, where it was just I think he had 18 touchdowns in 2023 with Mike McDaniels calling the plays. I think that either Mike McDaniels becomes a coordinator over here, and then they strive up and they play really good again. The Eagles do, and everyone's like, you see, Nick Sirianni just knows when to do this. When everyone knows that it's Howie Roseman who's calling all the big plays or calling all the shots. And it's either that or McDaniels decides to become the Lions coordinator because they just fired the coordinator as well. So that would be a huge thing for the Lions as well, though, just because you have Jared Goff, he's a better version of Tua. You have Amon-Ra, and who's a better version of Jalen Waddle. You have Jameson Williams, who's maybe not a better version of Tyreek Hill, but the difference is this guy wants to play football for you. I mean, Tyreek Hill was laughing that he just dislocated his whole ankle. At least Jameson Williams is going to want to play for you. And then you have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's a better version of Devon Achane with that O-line. I don't think they're going to have David Montgomery. I think he's going to go his own way. But yeah, so that's the one thing if I'm an Eagles fan, I am praying that they get Mike McDaniels. But also just congrats Eagles fans. Rejoice. What were they saying? ELGES? Fucking idiots. But yeah, rejoice. You got rid of Saddam Hussein himself. And go over and try to get Mike McDaniels. Alright, the next firing. We have Pete Carroll. This is going to be a fucking long-ass talk about this Las Vegas Raiders team. I live in a place where it's either you're a Cowboy fan, Niner fan, or a Raiders fan. It's going to be a really big talking point. A really big talking point. Because the reason why Pete Carroll is gone, and I don't think should ever be a head coach again, really. And the reason why the Raiders are currently failing as a franchise is because they saw what they did the last 2 seasons, right? And they said, we have enough pieces to contend. Because you don't hire Pete Carroll, like a 75-year-old man. He's almost as old as my fucking grandpa. You don't hire him unless you think we're in win now mode. You don't hire him unless you think we are in win now mode. And this, what really pisses me off? Is that the Raiders weren't able to get Ben Johnson, who everyone wanted. The Bears got him. And they said, you know what? We don't even need Ben Johnson. We're going to get Pete Carroll to be our head coach. The guy that's the Seahawks themselves said, hey, dude, we don't want you to be a head coach anymore. We want you to work with the organization still, but we're going to bring in Mike McDaniel. And what happened? They're the fucking 1 seed now. And what happened with Ben Johnson? They're the 2 seed now. So this is really funny to me because, of course, the Raiders did some dumbass shit again. But you don't hire Pete Carroll unless you think you were in win now mode. Because we got Geno Smith back, dude. He's going to be great. He was great for 3 years with the Seahawks. Kind of really wasn't. He had a good year In the first year he won like 10-7, 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, I believe. But then the next 2 years, it was like, yeah, we're 9-8. But Geno wasn't that great those 2 years. You decide to bring him in. You draft Ashton Jeanty 8th overall pick, which, by the way, I don't want to say it was the wrong pick or the wrong player, because Ashton Jeanty, I believe, is going to be a really good running back. Problem is, you have no O-line to help. You don't draft a running back until you have the quarterback done, the O-line done, the D-line done. It's basically drafting a running back is the last team that an elite team needs. I mean, just look at the Niners. They had like Raheem Mostert for a season, Matt Breida for a season. You know, they were just going through a lot of guys. They had Elijah Mitchell for a season, you know, and they were still making playoff runs. Look at the Chiefs. They don't even really have a great running back in those years where they won the rings. It's the running back has turned into the last thing that a win now team needs. Obviously, if your whole thing is running the ball, do that. But that's just the last thing that this team needed. A running back was the last thing this team needed because they weren't ready to play for the Super Bowl yet. They weren't in win now mode like how they thought they were. And as you see now, they're going to get the first overall pick. And what are they going to do? Draft a quarterback when they still have no O-line. There still is no O-line. It's absolutely crazy to me how they are getting skill positions first before getting anything done in the trenches. They are doing this whole like building the franchise to win now the wrong way. They're not even doing it the right way. You know? Because in their mind, they're like, we have Max Crosby, we're good there. Which you are, because Max Crosby is great, and I don't think he wants to leave the Raiders. You have Brock Bowers, you're great. You're great there. Ashton Jeanty, you're great there, but not quite yet, because you need an O-line. You have your receiver core is like, You have Geno Smith who threw like so many interceptions. I think he threw like 16. And it was terrible. He got benched. It was, and to go with all that, you have Pete Carroll, who was your head coach. And after 1 year, you're like, this was completely wrong. We shouldn't have thought that we were in win now mode. We just wasted a season. And you did. You really did. And I don't know where you go with this now, because there's not really a lot of teams that want to be a head coach to the Raiders. You're going to have to get this gif of fucking John Gruden. He's not going to go to the fuck-ass Raiders. So, like, you're going to have to really go for, like, a coordinator that no one really thinks a lot about. Just because who wants to be on the Raiders organization when they've just failed? They've just flat out failed for the last few seasons. And it just sucks. Well, it sucks for Raiders fans because they really thought they were going to be something this year. And I think they scored like 20 points 4 times. They played 17 games. Scored 20 points like 4 times. They only won 3 games. And they did all these acquisitions in the free agency, off season, to win now, to still be, to have a chance to play this fucking week. They didn't. No. They won 3 games. I don't get it. You don't. Raiders fans are going to say, we knew we weren't going to be that great. The problem is, the moves that you guys made showed that you thought you were going to be that great. And you fell right on your fucking ass. Or just flat on your fucking face. It's just, I can't believe it. The one good thing here is Tom Brady is a part of your organization. So just having Tom Brady himself, someone might be like, hey, I couldn't work with that. But you have to hope someone cares enough about that. Because if not, it's probably going to be another season of just And even Frankie Mendoza, I don't think he's at the talent of like the Raiders can't even like be shit in the right year. This is a bad draft class for QBs, but next year is an amazing draft class. You couldn't even get the first overall pick in the right year. You know? um but yeah, you gotta get Frankie Mendoza. I really hope that they fix their O-line, or else Frankie Mendoza may be screwed again, same as Ashton Genty. But yeah, that's my take on the whole Pete Carroll being fired. He should have been fired. The Raiders made the right decision by firing him, and that is the only right decision they made this season. All right, next up we have the Browns firing Kevin Stefanski after 6 seasons. He was a 2-time Coach of the Year. I believe the first one was in 2020, 2021, with Baker Mayfield just having that resurgence year in year 3. And then obviously the Joe Flacco year in 2023, where he just picked up a guy, Joe Flacco, off his fucking couch and just said, all right, we're going to win games and be 11-6. You go 5-12 this year. I still do think that Kevin Stefanski is a good head coach. It's funny, the one head coach that I think is bad in the AFC North, Zach Taylor, is the only one that has a job today. So, I do think Kevin Stefanski is a good head coach. The problem is how it ended. And the reason why he got fired probably is because the whole QB controversy. Because you could tell right away he wanted Dylan Gabriel. He didn't want Shedeur Sanders. And the Browns wanted Shedeur Sanders. So you have a ownership that wants one guy, head coach wants another. He gives a shot to his guy, Kevin Stefanski does, with Dylan Gabriel. It fails. But also I'm not gonna say look at the stats, because if you watched the game, you knew who was better, and it was Shedeur Sanders. Wasn't by a whole lot, though. I'll say that for sure. Wasn't by a whole lot. All you Browns fans saying, all you Browns fans saying I shouldn't even say Browns fans. All you Shedeur Sanders fans saying the Saints really drafted Tyler Shough over our guy Shedeur Sanders just because of that one bad throw during the combine. Here's the thing though. Tyler Shough played way better than Shedeur Sanders. Alright? Way better. Alright? So next time, just because you like a guy doesn't mean he's always going to be better than the other guy. It doesn't. Because the Saints have their guy for the new future in Tyler Shough. And Shedeur's probably not going to be the Browns guy. But yeah. This is probably why Kevin Stefanski was fired, just because they couldn't figure out a quarterback after Baker left. And it was just year after year, a new guy coming in, either playing really well or playing poorly. And I think at some point, an organization had to say, this is it. This is enough. We're not going to continue doing this anymore. And you're going to be let go. And that's what happened here. There's nothing really too insane about this firing. Really, any of these firings, it all makes sense for the teams. Some good head coaches were fired. Some bad ones were fired. This is, I believe, another one of the good head coaches that was fired from an organization. I think he'll become a head coach next year with relative ease. But yeah, it's just one of those things where the Browns want something new. And I'm pretty sure so does Kevin Stefanski. Alright, last up. Never mind. I literally had it on here. I was going to do this video, but I'm not going to anymore. I'm going to just decide this is going to be a Monday video. Alright? You have Baldy over here. But yeah. That is all for today's video. I will see you guys tomorrow for my prediction video of the 4 divisional games. Obviously, Saturday and Sunday, give my post-game reactions for that. And as I said earlier in the video, Monday or Tuesday, hopefully Monday though. We will be doing the UFC news that happened earlier this week, and then a prediction video for UFC 324 on Tuesday. All right. See you guys tomorrow. Peace.